Desire is not what the world told you. It is not romance. It is not flowers, gifts, or compliments that fade into background noise. It is something much darker, more primal, and more elusive. Desire is a shadow. It lingers when you're gone. It echoes when your name isn't spoken. It survives, not because you gave more, but because you dared to give less. Most men chase love the way children chase butterflies, wide-eyed, frantic, hopeful. They try to win it with charm, money, or endless devotion. They believe that if they just pour enough warmth into a woman's heart, she will stay. But Machiavelli, he saw deeper. He saw what most men refuse to admit. Love without tension turns hollow. Affection without boundaries becomes forgettable. And here lies the paradox. The very thing men believe will secure love is the same thing that makes them disposable. Think about it. How often have you seen a man give everything, only to be abandoned? How often do you hear stories of men who were too good, too available, too soft, and still she left? It's not cruelty, it's psychology. What is freely given, without challenge, without the risk of loss, carries no weight. Machiavelli whispered a truth that most fear to speak. It is safer to be feared than loved. At first, this sounds harsh, almost villainous, but look at life not through words, but through actions. Watch how women behave, not what they say, but what they do. You'll see the truth hidden beneath the surface. Love is beautiful, yes. It's the warmth we crave, the safety we long for. But love without boundaries becomes like background music, pleasant but ignorable. And the man who offers nothing but love becomes predictable, replaceable, forgotten. Fear, however, is different. Not the fear of cruelty, not anger, not violence. That is weakness wearing the mask of strength. Number. The true fear Machiavelli spoke of is the fear of loss. It is the silent dread that rises in a woman's chest when she realizes she cannot control you, that if she disrespects you, she may lose you, and nothing she does can undo it. That kind of fear does not scream. It does not argue. It lives in silence. It lives in the moment you step back, without explanation, without drama. It lives in the realization that you do not beg, you do not plead, you simply walk away. And that absence, oh, that absence speaks louder than any words could. It is in that silence that obsession is born. Because when she feels the space you leave behind, she doesn't feel relief. She feels gravity. Her mind replays the last look, the last word, the last unspoken moment. She wonders, why didn't he fight for me? Why didn't he need me? And that question burns deeper than any declaration of love. Understand this. Women are not obsessed with being loved. They are obsessed with the man who does not need their love to feel whole. The man whose presence is strong, but whose absence is stronger. That is why they chase the man who walks away. That is why they respect the man who doesn't fold. That is why they remember the man who never begged. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't cold. He was simply unshakable. He carried something 99% of men will never have: standards. So, when Machiavelli said it is safer to be feared than loved, he wasn't telling you to reject love. He was warning you that without fear of loss, love becomes lazy. He was showing you that attraction doesn't bloom from what you endlessly give, but from what you are willing to take away when it is not valued. So, here's the lesson. She may enjoy your company. She may even say she loves you. But if she does not fear losing you, you are replaceable. If she knows deep in her bones that you will not stay where you aren't respected, then you'll never have to chase her attention again. Because she will be the one fighting to earn yours. And that isn't cruelty. That is gravity. That is dark attraction. The kind that lingers when you leave the room. The kind that makes silence feel louder than speech. The kind that transforms you from just another man into the man she cannot forget. This is the beginning. The first key Machiavelli handed us. The power of fear over love. There is a brutal truth most men never face. The world does not see who you really are. It sees only the mask you wear. You may be kind, you may be loyal, intelligent, even noble at heart, but none of it matters if your presence does not feel powerful. A man can carry honesty and depth in his soul, yet if he moves with uncertainty, if he speaks with hesitation, if his body bends under doubt, no one, especially a woman, will believe in his worth. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote, "It is not necessary to be good. It is necessary to appear good." At first, those words sting. They feel unfair. Why should image matter more than truth? But think about it. From the time we are children, we are fed a comforting lie. If you are good, people will see it. If you are patient, hardworking, and pure of heart, others will recognize your value. But the world does not see hearts. The world sees posture, tone, and the way you command space. And women, especially, do not fall for facts. Attraction is not a checklist. It is not logic. It is feeling. When she looks at you, when she stands near you, she is not calculating your resume. She is feeling your energy. She is watching how you walk into a room. She is noticing whether you break when she tests you. This is why image is not just appearance, it is power. But here is the trap. Most men believe this means faking confidence, pretending to be someone they are not. That is not what Machiavelli meant. This is not about lying, it is about framing. It is about knowing that humans respond not to raw truth, but to the shape of truth. Picture this. You feel nervous, your hands want to shake, your words want to stumble, but instead of collapsing into that fear, you breathe deeper, you stand taller, you slow down. You speak like a man who is in control, not of her, but of himself. That is not pretending, that is mastering your image. Because mystery is not created by endless words. Mystery is created by silence. Power is not proven by explanation. Power is proven by stillness. When you speak less, she listens more. When you reveal only pieces of yourself, her mind begins to fill in the blanks. And what she imagines in the silence is often more powerful than anything you could say aloud. This is the seed of obsession. Not oversharing, not convincing, not performing. Presence. Think of the men who leave lasting impressions. They are not the loudest. They are not the ones who pour their hearts out too soon. They are the ones who carry an aura, an image that cannot be fully understood. They leave space for curiosity, and curiosity is magnetic. So, stop chasing understanding. Stop begging to be explained. Begin shaping the mask that she sees. Stand like a man who belongs in the room, even when doubt gnaws at you. Speak with the calm of someone who can command fire without being burned. And when the urge to chase overwhelms you, resist. Let her move toward you, because when you master your image, you no longer play the game on her terms. You set the stage, you decide the tone, and suddenly you are no longer a man fighting to be seen. You are the mystery that cannot be ignored. In a world where perception rules, your image is not just part of the game, it is the game. Every woman will test you, not because she hates you, not because she wants to destroy you, but because she needs to know if you can hold your ground. She will shift her tone, she will pull away, she will grow cold and then warm, then cold again. She will say one thing and do another, and all of it is to measure one question. Will you break or will you stand? Most men never recognize these moments for what they are. They mistake them for mood swings, for confusion, for drama. So, they explain, they argue, they apologize. They try to soothe the storm with words, and in that moment, they fail the test. Centuries ago, Machiavelli described the blueprint. A man of power must be both lion and fox. The lion is strength. He is boundaries carved in silence. He commands respect without raising his voice. He protects his dignity not by arguing, but by refusing to bend. He carries presence that cannot be ignored. The fox is intelligence. He listens more than he speaks. He does not leap at bait. He does not reveal his hand too soon. He is patience embodied, striking only when the moment is precise. Alone, each one is incomplete. A man who is only lion is fierce, but predictable. His anger can be provoked. His strength can be turned against him. A man who is only fox is clever, but lacking in fire. His charm may impress, but he does not inspire trust. But when you become both, you become untouchable. When she feels the weight of your silence, yet sees the calculation in your eyes, she cannot place you. And that uncertainty is what holds her. That tension keeps her circling, unable to predict you, unable to control you. So, how does this look in action? When she grows emotional, when she pushes and pulls, when she tries to spark reaction, be the fox. Stay calm. Let her waves crash against your stillness. Observe. Do not respond, because every time you refuse to take the bait, you show that her storm cannot shake your center. But when she crosses the line, when respect is touched, when your values are tested, be the lion. Not in rage, not in threats, but in the quiet power of unshakable presence, a gaze that does not flinch, a silence that says, "This is where I stand, and I do not move." That is the man she respects. Not the one who yells to be heard, but the one whose stillness is louder than any roar. Not the one who over-explains, but the one who simply does not need to. Understand this. The tests will never stop. They are not traps. They are invitations. Invitations to prove that you are not like the rest, that you are not a boy seeking approval, but a man who carries his own gravity. When you learn to be both fox and lion, you are no longer playing her game. You are teaching her the rules of yours. And in that world, unpredictability is your greatest weapon, because she will not know if you will embrace her warmth or disappear into silence. She will not know if her words have reached you, or if you have already seen through them. And that tension is not something she can resist. It is something she cannot forget. This is not noise. This is not charm. This is power. The power that lives not in aggression, not in cleverness alone, but in the fusion of strength and silence. The lion guards your respect, the fox guards your mind, and together they make you unforgettable. Machiavelli's oldest law of power was simple: divide and conquer. He used it for kingdoms and empires, but the truth is, it also works in the human heart. You do not control a woman by force. You do not fight her beliefs head on. Instead, you plant a seed of doubt and let her own mind do the work. Because certainty gives her power. When she feels certain of who she is, certain of what she wants, she is steady and unshaken. Your goal is not to destroy her certainty, but to quietly disturb it, to create a crack in the wall. A small, harmless question that lingers long after the words are gone. She says, "I hate jealous men." Most men would nod and agree. They would rush to validate her, to stay in her good favor. But you smile calmly and answer, "That is what you think." One line. No argument, no defense, no lecture. And suddenly, her mind shifts. What did he mean by that? Do I really believe what I just said? Why is his voice still in my head? That is how division begins. Not between you and her, but inside her. Her thoughts start to wrestle with themselves. She is pulled in two directions. And the more she argues with herself, the more space you take up in her mind. This is not about manipulation. It is not about controlling her like a puppet. It is about tension. Because tension is what keeps her curious. Curiosity is what keeps her open. And openness is where influence grows. Most men make the same mistake. They agree too quickly, hoping to be liked. They give her the comfort of certainty. But certainty is not attractive. Certainty is predictable. And predictable is forgettable. Tension, on the other hand, is unforgettable. It is the itch that cannot be scratched. It is the thought that returns when the room is quiet. It is the echo of your voice replaying in her mind, forcing her to wonder what else you see that she does not. So, do not fight her beliefs. Do not argue to win. Tap them gently, once, with calm. Then step back and let silence do the rest. She will do the arguing for you, not with you, but with herself. And in that hidden conflict, your presence grows stronger. This is Machiavellian seduction at its finest. Not loud, not dramatic, but precise. Not a war fought with fire, but a whisper that rearranges her inner world. Because at the end of the day, what hooks her is not dominance or control, but curiosity. And curiosity is the leash no one can cut. When she cannot fully understand you, when she cannot place you in a neat box, when she cannot predict what you will say next, that is when you stop being just another man. You become the question she cannot answer, the puzzle she cannot put away. And the human mind, especially the female mind, does not rest until the question is solved. That is why division works. That is why subtle doubt creates deeper attraction than any compliment. And that is why the man who learns to plant seeds, not arguments, becomes unforgettable. There is a reason some men fade into memory while others haunt a woman for the rest of her life. It has nothing to do with wealth, beauty, or charm. It has everything to do with impact. Most men are remembered as experiences, a nice date, a pleasant phase, a chapter that ends quietly. But the man who changes her, the man who shifts her story, is never forgotten. He does not just enter her life, he rewrites it. Think about the moments that stay with you. They are not always the happiest. Sometimes they are the sharp ones, the moments of transformation, the lessons that cut deep and never left. Women remember men in the same way, not the ones who gave them everything, but the ones who made them stop, think, question, and transform. Freud once said, "Emotional memory shapes desire. People crave what marks them emotionally." Machiavelli understood this long before psychology gave it a name. He knew that the man who controls the story controls the mind. So how do you become that man? Not by showering her with gifts, not by proving your worth through effort, but by being the turning point she did not expect. Maybe you are the first man who refused to chase, the first man who held a boundary and walked away without a word. Maybe you are the one who challenged her beliefs, who made her pause, who made her wonder if she had been wrong all along. And then, without bitterness, without pleading, you were gone, not to punish, not to manipulate, but because your value was not up for negotiation. And in that silence, in that absence, her story changed. She was forced to look at herself through your reflection, and she realized something new about who she was, about what she wanted, about what she could lose. That is how men become unforgettable, not by being the perfect partner, but by being the chapter in her life that could never be rewritten. Understand this. She may move on. She may laugh with others. She may even forget your name out loud. But she will never forget the version of herself that was born after you. In her quietest moments, behind every smile, there will always be a shadow whispering, "He changed me." This is not about cruelty. This is not about control. It is about becoming gravity. Presence that does not beg, silence that speaks louder than words, absence that creates obsession. Because once you stop chasing, once you stop explaining, once you stop trying to be liked, you become something far more powerful. You become the axis her emotions spin around. And when that happens, you no longer need to fight for her attention. You no longer need to beg for her love. She will give it freely, not because you demanded it, but because she fears losing it. This is the essence of Machiavelli's truth. Control is not force. Attraction is not performance. Power is not noise. Power is silence. Power is presence. Power is the ability to walk away, knowing she will follow. Most men will never understand this. They will keep chasing approval, keep performing, keep trying to prove their worth, and they will keep being forgotten. But if something inside you shifts, if you feel the pull of these words, then you are no longer like them. You are ready to stop playing the game as everyone else does. You are ready to stop begging for love and start creating gravity. So let this be your turning point as well. Not just in how you see women, but in how you see yourself. You are not here to impress. You are not here to entertain. You are not here to explain. You are here to hold. You are here to shape. You are here to become unforgettable. And once you step into that, you will never have to chase again. Because she will feel what most never do. The quiet fear of losing a man who cannot be replaced. That is not cruelty. That is not manipulation. That is truth. That is psychology. That is the final key Machiavelli left behind. The power to be the man she cannot control. The man she cannot forget. The man who does not just enter her story, but becomes the moment her world changed forever.